Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's October 24th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And quick look at our daily chart. This was a really ugly trading day. You can see not much movement there. Very mixed trading. It closes as a doji. Just not a very good trading day all around. There's only a few trades today. You had to just sit there and watch prices flip flop, and there weren't many setups, at least not good setups, not on my chart. So it was kind of one of those wasted, it feels like a wasted trading day almost. But anyway, let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart and I'll show you what I see. And we'll go through the few trades that I saw for the day. And we'll wrap up this day and wrap up this week, actually. So kind of an odd trading day and week. But anyway, let's flip over there and take a look. Okay, here it is. You can see that we spent most of the day trading in this range here from about 58.40 to about 58.56, 57, somewhere in that range. But we spent most of the day there. We broke higher and then we broke lower, and they're about equal moves, I'm pretty sure. I didn't measure them exactly. We'll just measure them and see. You can see they're really close. And that's about what you would expect, kind of equal moves out each side if it's mostly sideways. But anyway, not an easy day to trade because we had a little bit of consistency down here at the low part, consistency, but up here it doesn't turn consistently all day. It's here we're close, then we're lower, then we're lower, higher, lower, higher, high, then we're back up here to this level. There's just no real consistency there, so it's just kind of a difficult to trade that. And we were really downhill really until about lunchtime, and then we were uphill until we got back in this range again. So this was just not an easy day to trade. There's just not a lot of setups. There's some news items here. At 7:30 we had unemployment, which is this little box that's blued out, and then at 8:45 we had PMI, and that's this box this laid it out. We did have new home sales. That's not actually red. That's a medium. This turns orange after it plays, so that was a medium, and I didn't, I don't worry too much about mediums. Let's just see if anything happened at 9 o'clock. I don't think it did. I mean, we had a little bit of movement there at 9 o'clock, but I generally don't worry about it unless it's a high. The news is rated high impact. So anyway, uh, there's how I saw it. And you can see there's not many trades in here. I mean, we had this whole trend down without a single setup that I saw that was good on my chart. So let's zoom in and we'll go through the trades. Because we had the 7:30 news, there was nothing really going on prior to that. And then once we came out of it, we did get a first entry, second entry here. It's a little congested, and you got those three bars side by side. I wasn't crazy about that, but the lows were down here. And so there's plenty of room. So maybe you take that trade. It's a little aggressive, but I tend to like it. If it breaks below there, it's probably going to go. And you see it turns out to be if you caught that one trade, it's probably the only trade you needed all day. But if you don't catch that, then you're sitting here a lot today, and you probably get drawn into a trade you're tempted to take that's not a very good one, and you probably get burned. And that's just kind of the stuff that happens. You got to be patient, and you got to ride this stuff out. We had that other news item here. I would have liked this short here. There's enough room to scalp out, but it's during that news item, and so you just kind of got to sit tight. And then it rallies, and you got a higher or low here, but you've already touched the EMA. That's still a possibility. You could probably argue for that to be green. I didn't like it because it looks a little congested too. You don't really have that completely small or no body till here, and it would have already triggered by then. So maybe you take that trade. The problem is you don't have a break and new low of this channel yet. You don't get the new low till way over here. So that's another reason you're really going in the wrong way. But a lot of times you're going to get that second leg up, and this thing actually moves multiple legs up. and then you get a break and it tries to go higher, then it tries to go lower. And what prices are probably doing is trying to fill this gap. This is where prices opened at 8:30, and this is where they closed yesterday. So they're probably trying to fill that gap. And once you fill that gap, we may go higher again. And you can see we ended up going lower than that before we actually went back higher. So there, even though that's your first target, doesn't mean that's the final target. We could still go lower. And that's what happens to a lot of people. They get used to seeing a range every day, and then they trade it like a range, and it's not a range. And I've had a few people send me emails stating that, like, I thought this was a range day. Well, that's what this market does. It'll lull you to sleep, doing the same thing every day, and then it'll switch gears on you. And so you can't trade what you think. You have to trade what you see. But anyway, we're just chopping. I mean, there's no real direction here. It's hard to know. We should be going up to retest that high, and we should be going down to retest this low. So you don't know what prices are. They're just fighting it out there. Nobody's winning. We never do retest this high, and finally we come down and retest that low. But that's what's happening here. Prices are just chopping around trying to figure out where they're going. But notice you got two legs down here, and then you got a couple of legs up as well. But I like this long here because you got a 1, 2, 3 triple test. And on this little downtrend here, you do get a close outside and move to a new low. So maybe now we'll go retest the highs of the screen. So I like going long there. And this thing does take on off, but it still doesn't quite retest the highs. Turns down again. Then you get a channel working down, close outside. What would you expect prices to do here? To retest the lows and maybe finally fill the gap. And that's exactly what happens. And they bounce down here. That's the first time we bounced down here, though. So I'm not crazy about going long. It is an engulfing bar. I think you're way away from the MA, so I think there's a good opportunity. You could probably get a scalp here, but I'd rather have the higher low first, and you never get one. It just takes off. But notice how it breaks lower and turns up. I like entering that on the engulfing bar, actually. If you're going to enter there, because it's a good solid red bar. And this takes off, and would have been a good entry, but it's not perfect. It's not a sure thing. Anyway, we run up. It looks like you get a close outside. It's not much of one, but and then it moves to a new high, but we don't really get a setup, so it's hard to say whether that got a break, close outside new high. I mean, that's very close, so it's hard to know. If this would have broken higher, I'd say probably take this trade, but it doesn't. It's got that 2-bar matching high. I'd just skip it. And this thing runs all the way down with no chance to really enter. And then you get your break, and you just get a first entry up there. There's actually a second entry right here, but again, not a very good signal bar. It does drop to a new low. Now, after the fact, this is the way I originally drew it. I had this short term, and I drew this, and then this. I thought this was just going to be a retest, but notice how this just keeps on going and going. So you'd want to draw that trend channel, and then you get a break of it, and you'd want to draw this trend channel. And what I think happened, really, I don't think this trend channel is here. I think it looks more like this. You get a trend down with the break and new low, and then a new trend up, and then this is a separate trend down. That's the way I think I see it after the fact. Doesn't matter if you drew the other one, you still come to the same conclusion. But this seems to fit better and be a little cleaner and easier to read to me. So this is how I really think you should have played it. And again, there's no entries all the way down. I don't see any chance to enter on the way up. And again, no chance to enter once again on the way down. Here we do at least get a higher low after moving that measured move. So I like going long there just to try to at least ride it back to the EMA. Maybe you get lucky, which you do. So you may not have got a runner there. You might or might not have. But if you do, that's a nice run right there. Then there's a second entry here, but that all looks congested. It moves on up, and again, I just don't see anything you can trade going up. And then until right here you finally get a close outside first entry and then a second entry long with a nice signal bar. I like going long there. That runs to a new high, and then you get one down, close outside, move to a new low. So that is back at the support down here. It moves outside, but it closes back in. So a break above that, we'll probably at least go back to the EMA, maybe back to the highs. So I like that one. It's a little aggressive because it does make a new low, so you're better off to wait on the higher low, and that never comes. So you just end up getting a second entry short up here. And notice you got a channel working up, close outside, move to a new high, and then one more push up, and then the bearish bar. I like going short there. And that gives you two legs down, then a close outside, two legs up. This could be considered a lower high, but there's just not much room right there, and that makes that really dangerous. So I don't like it. I think you're better off to wait and see if you get a bounce down here. And you do. Notice you get, we've already tested this a few times across here. Once, twice. This one went a little lower, but then we get three touches right in a row here. Notice you got one there, then it came back here and touched and went up, came back and touched and turned up again. So I like going long there. It is a little congested, but notice how that broke. Let me zoom in here. Notice how that bar went higher than those 3-bar matching highs. If we get another break above that, it's probably going higher. So this is a little different. If they would have all been matching highs, I'd have said no. Skip this one because it's too congested. But that one little tick higher there tells you something. If it's able to break above that bar, then you're going to get some follow through. You don't know that it's going to go straight up like that, but you'd figured at least test this the midline and these highs again. But it just shoots straight up. Looks like you're going to get a lower high here. You don't, and you get two more legs up. Again, there's no setup to go short on any of these. That signal bar is no good. That one's no good. That one's no good. Then we get a bounce here. We're in 230 now, so it doesn't matter anyway. But that's how I saw it. So it's just not much here today. It's just no rhyme or reason. This is where it gets really hard. When you don't have consistent highs and consistent lows on a range, it gets hard to trade. You want to see it consistently turn at the same place every time. And then it's like, I mean, when you get a consistent turn off the lows and a consistent turn off the highs every time, that's the easiest trading there is to me. Those kind of ranges are easy trading. To me, they're almost like stealing candy from a baby because they've proven they're going to turn every time. And those are easy to trade, but when you turn at different places every time, it just gets so much harder to trade. So, because you can't count on it. You don't know if it's going to turn here or not. So you got to be able to trust it, and the only way to trust it is to see proof of it. And we just don't have we have a little bit of proof that we know this is support and resistance because it holds from the top, then holds from the bottom, holds from the top. Here we get through, but it still holds. It's a failure. Holds again, and holds again. So those three holds right there in a row are enough with a good signal bar to go long there. So that's the difference. But anyway, that's how I see it today. So it's not a very pretty trading day. Not a lot of entries, and this is where you separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. You have to be patient. You have to be disciplined. You have to be willing to sit here for long periods of time, or either just close it up and go home. You're better off to close it up and go home than to get impatient and force a trade and have a loser. And it's easy to do on a day when there's no consistent direction. And even though we were all downhill right here, there's no consistency here. We're up, down, down, up. And finally we make a nice trend down with a break and a new low, and then you got a nice trend up, and then it looks like it's a spiking channel. Then you get a close outside new high, and it's hidden lower. And so that was another one that I considered right there. But you can see we didn't quite have a new high here would be one reason you wouldn't take that. But you can see you had a second entry there that failed. And this one could just as easily turn down and fail. But when it closed that bearish, I probably should have at least marked that green. I like that in real time. I remember just kind of wondering about that one and trying to decide if I thought it was worth taking. And I think you should probably take that trade. I at least mark it green. So because notice you got the spike and channel up, and then you do get the close, and you get a couple of swings, and it does make a new high, and then it turns down with that hugely bearish bar. So there's a bunch of signals there. It says, hey, we're going lower, and you clearly get two real strong legs down before you get two strong legs back up. So anyway, hope you had a good trading day. I hope you've had a good week. We'll be back again to do it Monday. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.